Welcome to The Table, the podcast where we share real stories, struggles, and victories as we walk together in faith. In this episode, we're starting to talk about another listener question, singleness. As this conversation unfolds, you'll see that while some people are called to a life of singleness, others experience singleness as a season. And guess what? Life is full of waiting seasons. Whether you're in a season of singleness now or you've been happily married for 20 years, I think you'll find this encouraging for whatever you happen to be waiting for right now. So pull up a chair and join us as we dive into this week's conversation. Hey, Jenna. Hey, so we get to talk about another question that someone sent us. And this is not a series. I'm not calling it a series, but there is definitely a theme that's coming over the next couple to several weeks. I feel like the path of the theme keeps changing and growing. But we're really talking about encouragement for young adults. And today's conversation is really all about singleness and what it looks like to follow Jesus in your singleness. I'm not single. You're not single. Like, we're both married, long time. But I do think that in studying this, there's been a lot of things that I have realized or I've learned about that season. And then honestly, that I've learned about marriage and some things that I maybe take for granted or some things that I should lean into more as a married woman. So let's talk about singleness. But first, will you tell our listeners, I already know, but tell our listeners a little bit more about the question that you got related to young adulthood, life transition, singleness, finding a spouse, all that.
I really was just asked by a mom how to encourage her child while she's in the waiting for that spouse, or
Yeah.
what does it look like while they're in the middle of what feels like a very tough season while waiting on the Lord to provide them with what they're hoping for in a spouse, or really just trying to figure out that age is hard in itself. You're usually getting a job around your first job around that time. It's a lot of transition. And I think as Christians, it should look different than what the world is doing.
I agree so much. And it's a hard time because it's full of hurry up and wait moments. It's like you decide what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're in that transition, but then you have to wait for that opportunity to come. Or you're ready to, like we're going to talk about today, you're ready to get married, but you have to wait for the right person and for the right time. It's just a lot of waiting. And unfortunately, what I've learned is that doesn't stop. Like, we are constantly just sitting in a place of waiting for the Lord to do this thing or that thing, or to move us here or to move us there. And so I think those moments, they're really hard, but you're practicing for all the waiting you're going to do throughout the rest of your life. I think that's my opinion. Okay. As I was studying for this conversation, something that really stood out to me, I sent you some questions that we are going to talk about, but really, I think there's something we should address first, and that is that marriage and singleness are actually equal. Like, one is not better than the other. I think sometimes in my experience, we elevate marriage above being single, and we say like, oh, I'm sorry that you're not married, or I'm sorry that you haven't found the one, but just keep at it because you will. And then everything, then you can get on with the rest of your life. But when I was studying this, they're really just two options, but equal. They both have positives. They both have difficulties. And I don't know that we highlight that super well all the time. So I wanted to talk about that first. Like, what do you think about marriage and singleness and how you can serve the Lord in those?
Well, can I just start by saying this starts when kids are young now? I can remember being in
Yeah.
third grade and someone asking me, do I have a boyfriend? And even then, it felt like that was the question I got asked a lot. And now, as a parent of young men, young guys, that's what they get asked. Why is that a question that we're starting off with? What about asking questions about what they're doing or what they're learning or what are they enjoying? I
Yeah,
think this is a culture kind of thing that
for sure.
we really do push relationships, not just friendships. We push relationships. And I think it's almost like kids think that that's where they have to, like, they have to be in a relationship to be relevant. And that is
Mhm.
so unfortunate because that's not what the
Yeah.
Lord says. You're
Yeah.
relevant because you matter to him. You matter to the creator of the universe. He looked down and saw that he wanted you here and he knit you together in your mom's womb. He doesn't care if you have somebody that you call your boyfriend or girlfriend. I think we really push that too much. And I have learned that since becoming a parent. And I do believe that that constant question in my youth, and as I became a teenager, and even as a young adult, that constant question weighing on me from believers and unbelievers, but specifically from believers, really, I don't want to say it helped, it didn't help. What it did was constantly make me think that I'm supposed to have someone, that I'm not good enough without someone else. And that really messed up my view of not only relationships, but of the Lord. And it messed up what I thought a relationship should look like because I needed them to be complete. And that is so wrong. That is just, I don't know why we do that to kids. I don't know why we do that to teenagers. There are more important things that we should be asking them personally. So let me get off that soapbox and
No, I like it.
answer your question. I think there's such beauty in, and can be such beauty in, taking on the place and the season that you're in and trusting the Lord to lead you to your next step instead of so recklessly pursuing the next step. I think there's beauty in waiting and being patient for what comes next. And I don't say this from experience because I was the pusher. I was constantly trying to find what's next, get out of get done with one boyfriend, and goodness, I've got to find another one. I think there's wisdom in waiting if we'll allow it to be there. And it may be that doesn't want certain people to be married. But I think we have to appreciate the season that the Lord has us in because He has purpose in each of those.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I wrote down as encouragement. I
Hmm.
think for anyone, and I was having a conversation with a friend last week, and she's in a really tough place, and I understand what that feels like. And my I said to her, "You know it's not wasted though. Like it's not fun and you're not having a great time, but you're probably learning a lot and you're growing a lot and that's not comfortable, but he won't waste it. He like sets us in the seasons that we're in for a purpose and he knows we're there. I think there's some comfort in knowing that the God of the universe, you're not where you are on accident. So I love that you encouraged to be in the season that you're in and to wait well, whether you want to be there or not. Like he knows you're there and he's put you there for a reason. You might not understand that right now. You might not understand that until we get to heaven. But he does order our steps and he does know our the way that we feel as we're
Well,
walking through those
I
times.
wish we didn't look at it too. This may sound silly, but I wish we wouldn't look at that season of singleness as like a waiting period. I wish we looked at it as an opportunity to serve the Lord, to serve the community, to to seek after the Lord more because you have the extra time. Believe me, I am trying to squeeze in time to study right now because my plate is so full with a husband and five children.
Yeah.
I wish that I could have taken advantage of those single years and really sought after the Lord and prepared my heart for what was ahead instead of having to be reactive once it got here. I
Right.
think I, it's not a waiting period. It's just a season of, it depends on how you look at it. It's a
Yeah.
season,
It's a perspective.
yes. And instead of like wishing for what was ahead, I wish that I would have taken the time to use that season and pursue the Lord and pursued his purposes for me. I wish I would have pursued his word. I think I wasted many of those single years waiting and wishing for what was to come. And I think so many people do. And we as believers should encourage them in those seasons, not to discourage them and like, oh, you just wait. The Lord's got something else in store. You just
Right. Yeah.
instead say, I I love that you're seeking the Lord. I love what you're doing with your time. Tell me about what you're learning right now. Tell me how work is going. Tell me how school is going. Why is it like our first questions are, well, are you dating anybody? Have you
Yeah.
met the one yet? Like, why is that? That shouldn't be. I've learned that. I think that is what I needed in those seasons was somebody sending me encouragement when I already felt so distant from all the things that I wanted so badly.
I think sometimes we equate, that's a weird word. I can't think of anything else. I think we equate this waiting, especially in singleness, to wasting. Like I'm wasting time. Time is passing by and I can't do anything with this because I'm just trying to get to the next thing that I want. But I do think I'm just going to sit around and be sad and live in this place of I don't have what I want yet. Or to your point, there's like an active waiting, right? I love all of the things that you mentioned. Like I'm getting to know the Lord more. I'm dedicating more time to study and to prayer and to serving because you're right. You lose some of the time for those opportunities when you move into a different phase of life, when you move into marriage, when you move into parenting. And so I think maybe that the idea that like this is just wasted time and if I could just hurry up and get married, then I wouldn't feel like I'm wasting time, but you're it's not. It's not a wasteful waiting. There's purpose in it, and you can really use it as an opportunity, like you mentioned, to serve the Lord well, to learn about yourself, to learn about what you want and what He wants for you instead of just reacting. I love that you use that word. Instead of just reacting in the moment, finding someone that you think is who the Lord wants you to marry. And now you're having to backtrack and say, what do I want in all of these things? And what is our life going to look like? Because I don't even know what He's called me to yet. So I love that.
And being careful, this is another thing that happens in that is that if you are just like miserable that you're having to wait, is you start trying to take control and you
Yeah.
start lowering your standards or ignoring
Yeah.
things that you shouldn't. What if you're pursuing so heavily that you're choosing what God doesn't want you to have? This guy may look or girl may look perfect. This is the one for me. But what if that's not the one that the Lord wants for you because you are so focused on finding that someone?
Yeah.
And I think we forget that the Lord will work all those things out in his timing. He already has a plan and a purpose for us, and we're second guessing that during that season of singleness. I did. I I tried to take it into my own hands a million times, and none of it worked out very well for me. And so, if I had one piece of encouragement, it would be to actively pursue the Lord while you're waiting, and not actively pursue finding other option, like finding the next best option. Wait till He brings the right one to you. And I'm probably getting ahead of the questions, but to encourage you to find a place to serve. If you don't have a community of young people to serve with, then seek one out, find one, because that is where you can actively wait with the Lord while you're all pursuing Him, but serving His cause.
Yeah, you're not getting ahead at all, but there's so many things that I want to comment on. So let me
Sorry.
try to make it make sense. You talked about, I think last week, maybe in an episode before, we talked about Romans 12 too, and how the renewing of your mind, constantly, daily renewing your mind, so that we were talking about it, so that you're not conformed to the world. But the end of that verse says that by testing, you can discern the will of God. And so, if you want to know the kind of person that God wants you to marry, or if you want to know what you're supposed to do in your job next, it doesn't matter what you're trying to figure out, but renewing your mind and staying in the word and asking for wisdom. I mean, goodness, James says, if anybody lacks wisdom, let him ask. Like, just ask God what he wants for you, and he'll show you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think it's really easy. I'm not sitting in a place of someone who did singleness really well. So let's get that out of the way. I did not do this well, but I've learned in marriage how I could have done it differently, maybe. And so I want to talk about what are some of the opportunities that you have in singleness that you maybe don't have once you are in a covenant relationship with another person.
You have time,
Yeah.
period. You have
Number
time.
1.
I mean, like that may be all the answer I give is time.
Yeah.
The time
Yeah.
that I had while I was single was so much. I had so much time. And I don't think I fully realized that until I became a wife and became a mom. I I had the time to serve. I had the time not just to serve, but to fellowship. Um,
Yeah.
I had the time to seek out friendships. I had the time
Yeah.
to go on all the youth events. I had the time to travel. I had the time. I just had time. But I had time to
Yeah.
seek after the Lord, and I didn't do it well. Let me just second you on that. I didn't do it well. I spent my time in on all the wrong things and in all the wrong areas. And I think that's what I see now on this side of it, is that I wasted so much time on things and relationships that weren't going to amount to anything. And I think the time that I should have spent solely focused on my friendships that the Lord had given me, on my college work and my college path. I wish I'd have spent better time on that and more focused time, I guess. But serving my church, I wish that I would have used that time to pour into the church and into the youth group that the Lord had given me. I just wish that I would have used the time that I had to serve Him more.
And I want to, you gave a couple of examples serving the Lord. You're going to grow closer to Him and closer to your church community. Wherever you're serving, you're going to grow. So that's not wasted. You mentioned friendships and pouring into people and getting to know people. Like, I think about the time when I was in college, those friendships were some of the strongest friendships that I've had in my life. And what an opportunity that was to have the time to dedicate to those friendships in that season.
Hmm.
And that's not wasted,
Right.
right? That'll carry. that'll carry throughout your life. So I think, just to come back to your point earlier, this is an opportunity, and it's how you look at this. It's your perspective on the season that you're in. But I also think, we're coming from a place of two busy moms. Right, we got kids running around and 1,000 people's schedules that we're trying to keep on track. And I remember when I had Millie, my second baby, saying out loud to my dad, I don't know what I did with all my time when I only had one child, but I thought I was drowning. Now I am drowning, and I see that I had so much more time than I do now. And I think that's how I feel when I look back to my young adult life. Like, I don't know what I did with my time, but there was so much of it, and so much of it that I don't have now. And I think for you and I specifically, and other moms, I think a season is coming later where we get some of that time back, and where we can really focus on other things, but we're not there right now. But I know it sounds really cliche for someone who's, not a young mom anymore, to say that there is time. Like, use the time that you have, because in a later season you won't have it, and you'll need those things still. Like, I still need my church community. I still need those friendships to be the people that pour into me and bring me back down to who I am and whose I
Right.
am when I'm lost my way. But I don't have the same amount of time to dedicate to those. So I cannot think of a better way to use some of that season than to grow in those different ways. I think that's an excellent point.
And we invest our time in things we actually care about most of the time. Most of the
Yep.
time, that's what we
Yeah.
do. And I look back over my life, even though I didn't utilize each portion of time very well and each season very well, I look back over the seasons of my life and I see the times where God specifically had me where He wanted me, and I didn't pursue anything but that. The friendships that I made, the time that I made as a young girl in church with that youth group, with those teachers, have really blessed me. They're still my friends today. I know that I could go to them at any moment and they're there. I had one particular friend in college that the Lord gave me her. She actually texted me this week, and she helped me through that single season, and she called me out. Like, but that friendship, the time that I placed in the things that the Lord gave me, have been the things that lasted. They're the ones that are still around. So instead of seeing it as wasted time, see it as time that you're investing in, that is going to give back to you years from then. Like, years from this very moment, those things that the Lord gives you and you pour your time into, he will give back. He will bless you for that time.
Yeah, that does not sound wasted.
Mm-mm.
None of that sounds like a wasted
No.
season. We're going to keep talking about this, and so I don't know which rabbit trail to go down next. Is there anything in your notes that you wanted to say today about this topic?
I think being single was one of the loneliest times in my life, in those late teens, early
Yeah.
20s, turned into mid 20s. That was a really lonely time. And I think that's why we get so focused on finding what's next. And the word will pour into this so well. Read Paul. Read
Yeah.
everything Paul wrote,
Yeah.
but just remember that you're not of this world. Like, he's chosen us out of it, and you don't have to be like the world. You can do it differently. You can be in a season of singleness and not be lonely, because God is with you and He's created fellowship for you if you'll seek it out. You don't have to be lonely. You don't have to be alone. Christ is in you. If you choose to allow that to be your focus rather than the waiting, let Christ be your focus. Let His plan for you be your focus. And instead of rushing it or being angry about it or feeling sad or down that everyone around you is doing this, well, imagine that his purpose for you is even greater than you can imagine.
Man, I think that's so encouraging 'cause you're right. It can be really lonely, especially as someone in that season of life who's trying to follow Jesus, right?
Yeah,
Like that already can make you feel
right.
isolated, but then to feel like you're doing it alone, I love that encouragement. And David says in Psalms, "The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me." Like he absolutely will do what is best for you. And so it is hard. It is hard to wait. And we both know that. Like, I'm not saying that from a just suck it up, buttercup kind of perspective. It's so hard. It is so hard. But you're right. Like, you are seen and you are loved, and the Lord will put people in your life to care for you during that season. You just have to you kinda just have to see it. Like, you have to just open your eyes or your heart or whatever to be able to see the people and the opportunities that he's put in your life during that season.
I agree.
It's hard, though,
Yeah,
real hard.
it
So I
is.
get why they asked this question.
Yes.
Especially as a mama, I cannot imagine what this is gonna be like parenting, my kids through this season. It's gonna be hard, but
You'll tell them to seek the Lord, and you will tell them to seek a community and a fellowship of believers that support you during that season. That's what you'll tell your
yeah,
kids. That's what you wanted for yourself, and you didn't even realize that that's what you needed. But that's what
yeah.
you'll tell your kids, and that's what I would tell anybody who's single and lonely right now. Shift your focus. Focus on
Yeah.
finding a fellowship of believers so that you're not feeling that loneliness. God provides you with friendships and community and fellowship like none other. And He has purpose in that. Spend your time waiting with others who are seeking after the Lord.
I think that's really good encouragement for people not in a season of singleness. And we kind of talked about this a little bit last week when we were talking about how do you love on young adults and how do you help them as they grow in the Lord, and you surround your kids, your teenagers with people who are going to pour into them and send that same message that you're trying to teach them as a mama to your kids. And I think same thing. You're right. Same thing for single young adults, older adults, whoever it is, we have a job in this too. Like, we are the people that can be encouraging them in this season that they are in right now, however long it is.
I agree.
All right. Thanks for having this conversation. I'm
Yep.
excited to talk about it a little bit more,
Yep.
and we'll just see what happens over the next couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the table. We hope today's conversation encouraged you as you seek Jesus in the big moments and the little ones. Check out the show notes for any scripture, resources, whatever we talked about today. Feel free to share this episode, leave a comment, ask a question, or share your thoughts with us. Come back and join us again next week. We'll be right here. If you haven't already, go follow or subscribe wherever you listen and find us on socials to catch up if you don't have time to listen throughout the week, or just to find out what all the next episodes are about. Also, we know you have things to say, examples to share, wisdom to give, so look for opportunities this week to share with those around you or even with us. All right, we'll see you next time.